Hi there, Zam here from NerdTube, and welcome to Under the Radar Reviews, where I'll be reviewing a movie or a TV series that I personally have felt has gone under the radar. Today is a film. It's 2012's Flight, starring Denzel Washington, Kelly Riley, John Goodman, Don Cheadle, and Bruce Greenwood. The synopsis of this movie is that Denzel Washington plays a pilot called Whip, and Whip, whilst doing one of his regular transatlantic flights, the plane that he's flying malfunctions, and he ends up having to do some crazy maneuvers and then land the plane on a field. But unfortunately, there are a couple of casualties. But he's pretty much a hero by saving most of the passengers' lives. Unfortunately for Whip, he's also an alcoholic, and he likes to smoke a bit of weed and do a bit of cocaine as well. His life is unraveling during the course of this movie because of all the naughty business that he was doing and getting away with most of the time. Now, even though it wasn't the drugs and alcohol that crashed the plane, because he's got all of this in his system, the powers that be are questioning whether he was under the influence, and that was the reason why the plane crashed, even though it was a malfunction. So after we get this fantastic scene of him, having to land the plane, and it's a really exhilarating scene, and we see him in hospital recovering and then trying to get back on his feet again. He meets Kelly Riley's character of Nicole, and they have a sort of relationship. John Goodman's got like an extended cameo where he's in two significant scenes, and he's kind of like the dealer when it comes to some of the narcotics that that Denzel Washington likes to smoke and sniff. He gets it from him. Don Cheadle plays a lawyer who tries to help Denzel's character. Bruce Greenwood is like a friend, a colleague, because they were both actually Navy pilots, both him and Denzel, so they know each other that way, and then they became transatlantic pilots afterwards. And as you're watching Denzel's character throughout this movie, all he's doing is drinking alcohol. Like, he's drinking. His life is unraveling. He might lose his license. He could go to jail. And instead of doing the important thing of sobering up, he's doing the opposite thing, and he's just drinking alcohol all the time. And it almost becomes comical with some of the scenes we're seeing. The moments where he is genuinely trying to sober up, and he's doing his very best, but temptation is always there, and it offers itself to him, and he gives into it. And then when it comes to him recovering, there's one moment in this film where he's about to go to court, and he's absolutely hungover, drunk, and he needs to basically go to court to save his own ass, but he can't go to court drunk. So he gets his drug dealer to come along with cocaine to give him the kick up the backside so he can sober up really quickly. And all of that is just so comical. It's really bizarre. And just seeing Denzel as a broken man is really unusual. I mean, there was that moment of confidence when he was saving the plane in that particular scene, but just him roaming around life, being drunk all the time, and trying to hide his intoxication in public, and him just drinking every moment in this film was just crazy, and ruining the relationships around him. He's estranged from his wife. He's now his ex-wife. His son doesn't want to know him. He meets Kelly Riley's character, who is a junkie initially, but she gets off the stuff and tries to sober up herself. And while she's sobering up, Denzel isn't, and so he ruins that relationship as well. The tolerance of some of his friends around him are waning thin, but they need him to sober up in order, to help the plane union, because he's part of this union as well. There's so much shit going around, and people are really there for him at times, but he just ruins those moments with those people because he just hasn't got the willpower to sober up. He's constantly drinking, and it's funny at times, it's tragic at times, but I'll tell you one thing: there's a lot of product placement nearly every time, because when it comes to the alcohol he drinks, you see it in your face. Jim Beam, Absolute Vodka, Budweiser's, Coors, Foster's, you name it. They're making sure that all the alcohol that he's drinking is on full display. And even when there are moments where you do see him trying to sober up, he'll have a can of Coke in his hand as a substitute of the alcohol, and you know it's Coca-Cola. It's like in your face, Coca-Cola. There is a lot of that product placement. Regarding the actual drama, because this is a drama, it's very up and down. There's moments where it's quite comical, and I'm not sure if it fits. Like John Goodman's character is really bizarre. I don't know if he's supposed to be this bizarre. I'm not even sure if he necessarily fits into this movie well for what he is, because he plays like a friendly drug dealer, and I'm not talking like one of these menacing ones you usually see in movies. He's a guy who is your local drug dealer who will help you out, give you some weed, give you some coke or whatever. He's got all that sort of stuff. But he's almost playing like the dude, and I know he was in Big Lebowski, but he's kind of like, I'm the cool dude sort of guy. I've got all the shit and all of that sort of stuff, and he just feels a bit alien in this film. Luckily, John Goodman's role is very minimal. He's only in a couple of scenes. Don Cheadle's very good in this, playing one of the straight roles in this as a lawyer trying to help Denzel Washington. But Kelly Riley really kills it in this role. This is before she became super famous in Yellowstone as Beth, and she murdered that role. But she's really good as an ex-junkie who finds love with Denzel Washington. And fantastic British actress, I may add, as well. She's really superb. And Bruce Greenwood, he's very good. And there's another character as well, played by Brian Gregerty. He plays the co-pilot of Ken Evans. And it's almost funny with his character, because you can see him panicking all the time, and whilst Denzel's trying to encourage him and help him when it came to landing the plane when it was malfunctioning. But later on, Denzel visits him in hospital, and he finds out that his co-pilot is a bit of a religious, evangelical Jesus freak. At that moment, when he visits him, is kind of amusing as well. It's really hard to explain how I feel about this movie, because I have put it under the radar reviews, and usually that means it's something that I think has got under the radar. It's pretty good, but I wouldn't say that this is necessarily perfect. It's all right. It is. I don't know what it is, because I'm seeing Denzel Washington play this broken character. I don't really think that's necessarily it, to tell you the truth. I just think some of the scenes, they don't necessarily wield well. Like you think this is kind of a serious, almost somber sort of drama, regarding somebody who's breaking down by drinking too much, but at the same time having to come to terms with the responsibilities of what's happened, even though it wasn't his fault, but he is still an alcoholic. And the way there's comical elements mixed in with this, it just doesn't necessarily always work right at the same time. It's a good film because it's got a decent cast, and anything Denzel Washington does is just you're just engrossed. He can improve any movie that he's in. He's such a great actor. But this particular film, the way it's written, it's all over the place at times regarding how you're supposed to feel about what you're watching. I think like if there were comical moments, it should be very subtle and undertoned to a degree. But you said what you have is like bizarre characters like John Goodman's character, who, of all the actors you could have got to play this role, you got John Goodman to play it. And I'm not going to be wrong, John Goodman is very good at playing eccentric characters. I just didn't feel like this character should be that way, especially when it came to some of the most serious subject matters in this, about surviving a plane crash, especially when there were some casualties, alcoholism, drug addiction, stuff like that. I'm not 100% sure if some of the comedy in this movie was warranted, but watching Denzel's character, having to come to terms with who he is, and to maybe be also kind of so lucky that he's gone this far in life, having a fantastic career, but at the same time, blowing it away by abusing himself is also kind of, it's an interesting watch in its own right. I just don't think that some of these funny moments, and they are, sometimes it does land, a couple of times, but I'm not sure if it's warranted for a film like this. But regardless, I had an okay time watching it, and that's why I decided to review it. I came across a clip on YouTube regarding this movie, and after that I thought, you know what, I'm going to watch this movie proper and see how I feel about it. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I was close to a 6, but I'll give it a 7. It's a very generous 7 out of 10 for me. This is not one of Denzel Washington's best movies, but seeing him in this role, it's something you don't often see from Denzel Washington. As tremendously good as an actor as he is, he's never this beaten as a character. He's really beaten. You don't often see that when you see him playing as John McClane, or even in Training Day, or that one film with the runaway train and stuff like that. He's always got something about him that makes him very strong. I think the last time I seen him, anything like this from Denzel Washington was probably John Q. But that's a different type of movie overall. Anyway, if you've seen this movie, let me know what you think. If you haven't, give it a watch. It's definitely something worth watching if you fancy watching a drama which is pretty much star-studded. Then yeah, you're gonna have a good time with this film. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest social media channel you never heard of. Take care. Bye bye.